Live from Brad's bedroom, it's the How to Ship Shipping Easy webinar. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to give it about 2 minutes. This is Brad with Shipping Easy, if you couldn't tell. We're just going to let some more people trickle in here. We've got a packed house of people that want to learn about shipping. So I'll check back in about 2 minutes and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, everybody. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. My name is Brad Pendleton. I've been with Shipping Easy for around 5 years now. So basically what we're going to do today is we're going to touch on a couple of different areas on the application and talk about some general strategy for setting up your shipping if you're new to e-commerce or just shipping in general. There's obviously a lot that goes into that. So I'm going to hopefully be able to clear some things up, get any questions answered at the end. So feel free to put any questions you want in the channel here. I'll be happy to answer them at the very end of the webinar. But they could be about anything we covered today or any other things that might be on your mind. But let me go ahead and navigate over here. So here's our itinerary for the half an hour that we have together. We're going to talk about the Shipping Easy's order page. On this page, we can ship packages out to your customers. We'll talk about some e-commerce industry tips, and then as I mentioned, we'll open it up to questions at the very end of the webinar. So to get started with just some general trends that we noticed here at Shipping Easy and some general strategy to help get customers down the right path for what makes the most sense for their shipping options, we're going to start with some of the carriers, and we're not going to get too in depth to anything that we talk about today really, but I just want to give you guys some good general guidelines with how to ship your packages and what carrier considerations you should be making. As a rule of thumb, lighter weight packages ship very well with the United States Postal Service. It's reliable and it's very cost effective for any pieces of mail going from 0 ounces all the way up to generally about 8 to 10 pounds. That's typically the weight range that you want to stay within when you're shipping with the post office. FedEx and UPS become really competitive at around 8 and above pounds per shipment. They'll obviously want to work with you on a negotiated rate for it. That's how FedEx and UPS work, is you work with them on the shipping rates that they're able to provide you. And that helps them be competitive with heavier packages versus the post office, which has the same rate for everyone. So I couldn't walk into the post office and negotiate them down for a rate, just like you couldn't either. It's a little different with the carriers, but just keep in mind the lighter weight stuff like makeup, apparel, individual paintballs. If you sell those one at a time, I have no idea why you would do that, but if that's your business model, more power to you. You're going to want to ship those with the post office. Big things like a guitar or like a television or a set of pots and pans that weighs 20 pounds. Those are all going to be great candidates for UPS and FedEx when it comes to shipping. If you're new to e-commerce and you're starting to just sell and list on various channels, much like your investment portfolio, you want to consider diversifying your selling channels. So what I mean by that is you have a lot of options to list your products and sell them. Most of our customers will start out with a Shopify store, and a Shopify store is really easy to get set up and get going with, and it's great because it's got your branding, it's got your personal touch to it. You can get your message out there to your customers. The tough part about getting started with just a Shopify store, though, is the lack of business just as a consequence of being a newer business. That's why I recommend setting up, in addition to your own website, a marketplace like Amazon, could be Walmart, could be eBay, but it's just some other avenue that has a little bit more exposure that might be able to get your customers more familiar with your brand from a manner that's outside of your own control. And again, that goes back to the not downside, but just a consequence of using a marketplace to sell your items is that Amazon, Walmart, eBay, they pretty much control the branding and the message right there, but they're good introductions to your brand. So maybe I buy lip gloss from you on Amazon, and I really like that lip gloss, and I want to get some of the lotion too, but you don't sell that on Amazon, but I am able to find you in your Shopify store, and then I get more familiar with your brand. So there's a bunch of different combinations and strategies you can use for different selling channels and marketplaces. The last part of this just general rule of thumb, as e-commerce businesses grow, and they're all growing right now very rapidly, it's very important to get all of your processes as streamlined as possible. So something that's really nice about our software, ShippingEasy, is that it contains essentially all the back-end fulfillment stuff that you will need. So of course it's shipping, so we integrate with your website and your marketplace. It's also inventory though, which is very important. So if you sell that lip gloss on Amazon, but you also sell it on Shopify, well, if you get an order on Shopify, you need to have a deduction on Amazon as well. Otherwise, you run the risk of overselling, getting penalized by Amazon. It's a whole messy road. But having the ability to have shipping, inventory, and then customer marketing emails all under one roof, it makes scaling your business that much easier, because if you don't do that, you have to basically patch it all together. Well, I'll use this program for shipping, I use this program for inventory, and I use this program for customer marketing. One, it's very difficult to get all three of those softwares to play together. And two, if one of them does go down or there's an issue with one, you have to not only make one phone call to that app, you have to make phone calls to the other applications too, to see if they've been affected. Again, with ShippingEasy, it's very straightforward. You make one phone call, that's it. So that's kind of the benefits as far as ShippingEasy and the lay of the land. I'm going to go ahead and shift over to our actual application. So this is the ShippingEasy orders page. This is where, if you integrate a store into our software, all of the orders that are placed on that avenue will land. This is a complete aggregate of various areas. You can filter and see on the left-hand side, I've got an Amazon store here. I've got a Shopify store. I had an eBay store in here. I disconnected it because I wasn't selling anything. Anyways, you can pull everything into one area here and then process the labels as is appropriate. So the first place we're going to start with is the columns right here. These columns will help you sort your orders and help you process them accordingly. You may not need all of these columns. They may not be readily important to you or relevant. So for example, if you don't have warehouse bin locations, if everything's just like right there and you can go ahead and pick it, you can actually remove that column by just dragging it back over to the right-hand side. Maybe the address type has some sort of bearing on how you're going to ship it, so you would like that displayed. Well, you would just pull that over to the right-hand side and save it. And now, as you can see, I can see commercial address type, residential address type, etc. And then also that warehouse column is gone as well. Sorting, when you actually click on a column, you can actually sort either numerically, you could sort it by the age of the order, when it was placed. That's really just going to arrange the returned order results in whatever manner you like. So this is my oldest order to I'm sorry, my youngest order to my oldest order. This is my oldest order to my youngest order, as you can see. So the columns will arrange this information for whatever process makes the most sense for you. On the left-hand side, we actually have filters, which will narrow down your order set. As you can see, I only have 12 orders right now displayed because I have filtered them by zone 7. So any order in this page is just going to be a strictly zone 7 order. However, if I remove zone 7 on that filter and just open it up to everybody, you'll see my order results go from 12 to 151 orders. This can be really beneficial as far as being able to help you really segment your orders to process the ones that are most important to process first and really strategize as far as best practices. So if I know, well, when I come in the morning, I want to do all of my zone 7s that are between 1 and 3 pounds, it's a very specific order set versus just saying, well, what do we got today? So as you can see, I have 5 orders that meet that criteria, and I can go about processing them. Now, again, this is going back to your personal process. If you do have filters that you use on a day-to-day basis, like this one, for example, it's really great because you can save those views. We could call this zone 7. And then that view will be available for processing. Oh my gosh, my dog just came in here. How you doing, Bandit? So Bandit's favorite view is actually the test view 1. And if we click over to it, you'll see it breaks it out between zones 1, 2, and 3. And that's pounds 1 to 3 as well. So those are the first ones that Bandit's going to process in the morning. Then I can come in right after he's done with that, toggle it over to my new zone 7. We're ready to go, and I can process those orders. The last thing about the filters that I'll point out too is they're very sticky. So this means that whether myself or Bandit, whoever's processing these orders together, we can actually go and navigate and check something else in the application. Like, oh, let's check a report, or we can go do something with marketing. As soon as we come back to the orders page, we can pick up right where we left off. Now, if I want to just start from scratch again, of course, we can just reset here on the left side. So that's it. That's how you sort. That's how you filter orders. Now let's get into the actual process of fulfilling the orders. So let's look and just use this guy for an example. We've got an order going to Fender Bender. This is what they've ordered, a Mighty Mouse. I don't know what that is. That's a demo SKU, but we'll see. As soon as we click on the order, it's an actual mouse, as you can see. That's my business model, apparently. We can go in here and see all the information relevant to this order. We can see where it's shipping to, what the person's ordered, if there are any custom notes, if it's passed any shipping rules. There's a lot of information here that may or may not be relevant to what you're doing, but we got options. So right now I can see that it's a pound and about a little less than an ounce, right? So let's say that this is actually an incorrect weight for this guy and it's 2 pounds. Well, all we need to do is click on the order weight, adjust it to 2 pounds, move that, update the rate, and we're good. So we get the same rate because this is a flat rate package. However, if we need to change that to something custom, like I want to put this mouse in the 777 box that has air holes, we can't put it in the flat rate envelope, it would die. We would just switch this over to that guy, update the rate. And as you can see, it goes from 715 to 746, but the mouse does live, so that's a good thing. Once we're ready to go on this and we're going to ship him out, we can go ahead and purchase the label. The order disappears from our orders page and it goes to our shipment history page. So if we hover over shipments, we're going to go to this drop down, and this page right here contains a list of all of the shipping labels that I have printed up to the last 90 days. You are able to find the information for any label that was printed beyond 90 days. That information is just found in an actual report, whereas on this screen, we're just using the past 90 days. Here's my label. It's all ready to go. I can go ahead and print it off now. It's a sample label, shows you the mouse, shows you the order number, and this would be then printed off either from this PDF, or if you have direct printing installed on your computer, you can actually have this label come out of your printer as soon as you click buy label. I don't have it on mine because this is just a webinar and I would be burning through paper and wasting trees. So if we go back to the shipment history, maybe I need to go back and look at some other orders that potentially have been canceled or any sort of edits that need to be done to them. I can actually filter just like on the orders page on the left-hand side in our shipment history. As you can see, my results when I increased them to the past 30 days versus 7 went from a single order to 21. So now I can do whatever I need to do with these orders, whether it's reprint a label, which you can do as many times as you want. You only pay for the label once. I can cancel the label, I can duplicate it, but you can use these filters on the left-hand side to find exactly what you need. The last thing I'll show you on this page, this is really geared towards USPS. So again, going for those lighter weight packages, mice, cosmetics, marbles, books, Return of the Jedi DVDs. You can get all of that stuff through the post office. You want to use a USPS scan form if you're shipping multiple packages. So typically it's around 5 packages and up. The post office would like an easier way to process your shipments when they pick them up from you or you drop them off. So what a scan form does is it takes all of your multiple shipments and condenses the barcode into a single barcode. So that way, if you've got 10 shipments of mice, well, the post office doesn't have to come by and scan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. They can just scan the single piece of paper for the scan form, pick up the boxes, and get them processed that way. So to do that, you can process it from the shipment history page, which I'll go back since I didn't highlight it. USPS scan form right here. It's going to show you all of your eligible shipments. Create the scan form, and again, it's just going to come out in like an 8.5 by 11 paper with a big old barcode in the middle. Saves the post office a ton of time, saves you a ton of time, and you're ready to go. That is that's really it as far as what I had on the agenda to cover today. Just some industry tips, and then very straightforward printing and shipping from our orders page of ShippingEasy. I'll go ahead and open up to questions. And like I said, your questions can be about anything that I covered. It can be about anything that's just on your mind or questions around our application or the carriers. You can ask us about our competitors too. I worked in sales for 3 years, so it's a good chance I know about other people's software as well. Don't ask me to support it though. So the first question that came in was, how do we create a preset? So yeah, that's a great question. Right now, you can see on the left-hand side here under shipping selections, there are various packages and services and carrier combinations here that are called presets. If I drop this down, I can select a bunch of different ones that I've created on my own. As you can see, I've got a custom package for Priority Mail Express. I've got home delivery for FedEx. I've got UPS ground. There's all these options I can toggle to right here. So the question is, how do I create one of those options and make them available on this page? Great question. So first, we're going to go to the settings page by clicking on the upper right-hand corner. On the right-hand side of this page, it's going to be under our shipment settings drop-down. And we're going to click shipping presets. Here's a list of all the presets that I have right now. I've got a bunch, and that really bothers me. I'm going to clean this up later. Besides the point, anything with a star next to it means that you'll be able to access it on the orders page. Anything that doesn't have a star means that it's not available on the orders page, but we could use it in like a shipping rule or something like that. But to create a brand new one, all we have to do is click new preset. I'll select, let's go with this. We've got a great new feature inside our software while we're here, where we support UPS rates through stamps.com. So this is like a 60% off retail UPS rate that all of our customers have access to. I'll show you how to set that up here once I get done with this preset, but we'll go ahead and create a preset for this guy right here. And let's do second day. That's the service I want. And I can pick from one of the packages that I have, or if there's a new package that I'm going to use for this guy, we can say it's 8834. No, that's ridiculous. I'm not going to do that. 19. Package name, red, blue, green. That works for me. And we'll have the add to weight be 2 ounces. So this is a very specific package and service carrier combination that I'm creating here. Everything looks good. We'll go ahead and create it, and then I'll just make sure that it has a star so that I can access this on the orders page. And as you can see, there are way too many on here, and it's very hard to find, and it's just driving me crazy. But I did find it, so there it is. It's got a star. Let's go back to the orders page. And we're going to ship this guy with our new UPS one balance, red, blue, green, 8x8 by 19. I don't know what that's going to ship, but there it is. Let's see. So that's how you create a preset. Let's look at the next ones. Whoops. Pull that out of here. How do we get USPS score? Oh, no worries. So someone just had another question, just would like me to repeat how we get a scan form for the post office. No problem. So you'll go to your shipment history. So if we hover over this guy, click on shipment history right here. Again, this is just a list of all the shipments that I've processed in a given time frame. And then I'll click on this USPS scan form button right here. It will display a list of all of my eligible shipments. Now, I've only printed one label just on today's webinar, so we're only seeing one. But for example, if I printed 50, there would be 50 instances right here. I could confirm, yeah, these guys are all printed and we're ready. And then you just click that create scan form. So good question. We want the options. Someone is asking about going back to the preset idea. In the preset section, we have to set up our own UPS and FedEx account. Yeah, so let's go back to, as I was mentioning, as far as one balance and the UPS account that stamps.com is able to provide now. You have the option on one balance and carriers. This is where you store your postage and are able to make any sort of decisions or changes to the carriers that you like. You have your options here. This is the USPS and UPS accounts that stamps.com is able to provide you. But then you're also able to plug in your own negotiated rates. If you want to use your own UPS account or your own FedEx account, you're definitely able to. You can plug those independently in here and just use those to create the presets. If you'd like to take advantage of the stamps.com UPS accounts, all you have to do is come to this one balance and carriers, and then to the right of this UPS logo, you'll see add account, and you'll just be able to set it up. It's going to ask you for your ship from location, and that's it. And you'll be able to see, if you do something like the rate calculator, ShippingEasy one balance versus UPS. If it says one balance right here, that means that it's coming from the stamps.com account. If you don't see that one balance and you just see UPS and FedEx, that means that it's your own account rates that you'll be seeing. I hope that answered your question. USPS is, and I guess the second part of the question is, will USPS always be there, as in either on the presets or right here? USPS will always be an option inside of ShippingEasy, because to set up a ShippingEasy account fully, you do register the stamps.com account, which USPS is the default carrier for them. If you don't need them on your presets, let's just go through it right now, because again, this is driving me absolutely crazy that there's so many presets. We just go ahead and exit out. So just, oh, I don't use the regional A box, go ahead and get rid of it. I don't use this large box, go ahead and get rid of it. It's no longer an option. Just make sure you don't have any of these presets tied to a shipping rule, because obviously if I've got a shipping rule that says, if the order is going to California, use that Express 888 box, I can't delete this because it's linked to another part of the application. So that's just a little nuance. Let's see, current reliability of USPS versus UPS versus FedEx, large 40-pound boxes. So deliverability is going to be, it's pretty, there's parity between all three carriers. They're all really responsible and really good. I know some carriers get a bad rap for whatever reason, but if we look at the statistics over time, I think USPS was the leader as of last year by like 2%. So like with a 96 or 7 deliverability rate versus like a 95 or 94 deliverability rate by UPS and FedEx. So, I mean, everybody's doing a really good job of making sure the packages get there. It really just boils down to what we touched on in the beginning as far as what service is most affordable. So if it's a large 40-pound box, I think UPS and FedEx are going to be your best bets with shipping those out, because I think it's going to be the most cost effective. But as far as reliability and deliverability, they're all very similar, that I wouldn't be too worried about. Well, USPS isn't reliable. It's really, that's not very much the case, as we've found in the research that we've done. Let's see. Oh, someone's asking about how to weigh a package. Essentially, they're trying to figure out their shipping prices, and I guess this is also the 40-pound large boxes. Will a bathroom scale suffice? Absolutely. Yeah, if you can weigh that on a bathroom scale and you see it's 40 pounds, 5 ounces, yeah, all you have to do, and we'll go back and use this as a great example. So if we pull up this order right now and we put the product on a bathroom scale and it says 40 pounds, 5 ounces. Well, all we need to do is just adjust this to 40 pounds, 5 ounces, update the rate, maybe make a selection here if we need to. But yeah, as long as you've got an accurate weight, that's the only thing that matters. We want to make sure that we're as accurate as possible on the weight, because with the post office, for one, they weigh every single package. So they'll either debit it from your one balance. So if we go back to this page, if I said it was 40 pounds and it's actually 70, or well, 70 is a terrible example. If it's actually like 60 pounds, well, rather than taking out, they'll take the difference out. So if it cost me 20 bucks to ship it, but then they said, no, it's actually heavier and it should have been $30, they'll take that $10 from here. And in some cases, if you don't have enough postage in there, it can throw your account into the negative and you'll have to just obviously pay for that. But yeah, bathroom scale totally works if you're trying to weigh out the package. We do support the ability as well, if you have a USB scale, to plug that in. So if we plug in a USB scale to the computer, I can put it on there. This number is going to change dynamically. So it would go from like 0 if there's nothing on it to 40.5 or whatever it's actually weighing in at. Great question. And then to piggyback on that too, a lot of customers ask about the weight of the package. I'm sorry, the packing material. Definitely take that into consideration too. The nice thing about setting up your presets back on our settings page is that you can have an add to weight. So if you come in here and you create a brand new preset for this 777 box, well, maybe what I'm shipping is a pound, but the box adds an extra 5 ounces. That's a really heavy box, but maybe it's a really cool box and it's got a great design. So we need to take into account though that extra 5 ounces is going to affect the price of that package. So you can actually do what's called, as I mentioned, an add to weight. So if we find them, there's my 777 box. We've got an add to weight of 2 ounces. I can change that at any time to 5, update it. So now when I place my order or when I receive an order, the order is 1 pound, but then we also see that I've applied this 7Q box to it. So it's actually 1.5 pounds. In that case, it's going to round up to 2 pounds. And again, the cost will change. So that's something you want to be very clear on and accurate on, is the weight of your products, because it does affect the actual price of the shipping. Good questions. Let's see. Do we support packing slips? Great question. Yeah. So if anybody's new to shipping or just kind of new to that term, a packing slip is a piece of paper that basically, a lot of people call it an invoice. It just outlines what you have received on the order. And we do support that. So you can go ahead and print them off ahead of time if you want to. Most customers will print them off in a certain order, pick the actual things that are contained on that invoice before printing off the label, just to make sure they have the inventory. So if we go with that scenario, let's say I want to pick out these 3 orders. Well, we'll highlight them there, click the pick and pack button, print the packing slips. They get sent to my ready to print page here. And then here we go. You can see the actual packing slips, and mine aren't formatted very pretty right now because I was playing with them the other day, but it does have the information on it that we need. So I know that for one of the orders, I need to go find an adapter that's blue and small. For the other order, I need to go and find one that is an alligator clutch, and then a new product that's copper. So you can print these off and go by, grab the merchandise or not if you don't have it, and then decide, okay, now we can go back to our orders page and actually print the shipping labels for them. Oh, another question came in right after that too, around pick lists. So pick lists and packing slips, they're in the same kind of realm as far as their usage, but they are different. A pick list is really used for, it's for people that are shipping more packages than just like 3 at a time or something, and it really helps streamline your process. I'm a big fan of them, for sure, because it keeps everything organized and it just makes sense as far as your day-to-day workflow. So for a pick list, it's just going to contain the quantity of the items you need as well as the item names. So you know, if you're looking at a pick list, that you need quantity 4 of the red bouncy ball to satisfy the orders that you have selected. So we'll look at it right now. Select these guys again. And pick and pack, print the pick list. We've got 8 orders on here right now, so we'll go ahead and print it. So if you look at this, it's broken out by order number. And we know the total quantity of items that we need printed, or I'm sorry, picked out right here, and in addition to the actual order stuff. So it's not giving you the full rundown of your order because that's a lot of information, but it's giving you the information that you need to pick and fulfill these orders. And the reason that's helpful is because you can go by where they're located or whatever sorting method you like to be able to print this out and go pick them efficiently. And I'm going to actually give you just a give you another example because again, I love pick lists. I think they're incredibly underutilized and they absolutely transform people's shipping processes. But if you come into settings in the upper right-hand corner, we can actually adjust this by clicking on pick list. And right now I have it sorted by order. So group by and print by order just means that we're breaking out the individual orders. I actually like adding the item as well, because again, this is going to go back to printing out the orders quantities for the actual items. So I think it's a much more efficient way to go about it. And we can just select everybody on this page. There's 150 here. We'll do print pick list. We're getting crazy right now. There's a bunch of orders. It's just COVID-19 is just throwing me through the roof. It's going to take a second. It's going to take a few seconds. So while that's thinking about that, there's a lot of different columns you can include in the pick list. Just like on the orders page, we have all these categories that we can have in here. And again, I'm just keeping the SKU, the quantity, maybe an order number. Again, if you've got a big warehouse, definitely include the warehouse bin on this. So that way we know, okay, let's go pick that from row 1. And you can start really divvying it up and being really efficient with your picking and packing process. And while we're on the subject of pick lists, because you can tell I'm a big fan of them, one thing occurred to me today is a lot of people, a lot of customers need to get in place designated prep locations. So if you're doing any sort of volume, which is typically around like 5 to 10 packages per day, I would definitely recommend having 2 locations in your warehouse or the area that you fulfill orders. The first location is obviously the location where you're going to fulfill orders, and that could be where you collect all your merchandise that you're shipping out and then you process the labels. The second and very crucial location is is the pickup location. This could be the location that the post office or UPS comes by and picks up your packages, or that's just like the staging area. So you can stack up all of your packages in one area, and I will pick a number like every column of my packages should have 10. So there should be 10 shipments in each row, so that when I'm looking at it, I can know very easily, okay, I've got 3 rows, so I've got 30 shipments. So that way nothing's missing, and it matches how many you would expect on this pick list. So with that, as you can see, to fulfill all of these orders, I need 10 of this specific SKU, 4 of this guy, 8 of this guy, etc. For all 150 orders, if I wanted to fulfill them to a T, these are the SKUs and the quantities that I'd need. So we can go through on the first, get out of here. We can go through on the first page, SKUs, and there's quite a bit, right? Because I have so many orders. But again, it lists the total quantity to pick, the total items to pick, and then the total orders that we're going to expect this to be. So if I printed all of these into actual orders, I would expect individual packages to be 150. So if we have stacks of 10, we'd expect 15 individual stacks of 10 in my processing area. Postman comes by, said, hey, I've got 150 packages for you today. Here's my scan form, so you don't have to scan 150 and we can all go home tonight. And then I've got 15 rows of 10. We know that we've gotten everything processed and shipping correctly. Quality control obviously is a big part of shipping, and it's not something I think you should take lightly or just, yeah, we just put this stuff over here. Try to be as meticulous as possible with it. And then if you just go down, sorry, I use a Mac and I'm just not used to it. If we just go down here, it breaks it out onto the orders again. So you could pick everything and then use the actual drop down for the order sort to pack them as well. But again, I don't know if you can tell, I love pick lists. They've saved me a ton of times when trying to work with customers and get things organized. So I think you should definitely get comfortable with pick lists and trying to format them and get them together. I'm trying a new, let me see here. What is the best way to address a package that wasn't delivered? Yeah, so this is a great question too. It piggybacks off of our reliability. It says, what is the best way to address a package that was not delivered? This was USPS, but curious for all. Yeah, the process is going to be relatively similar for all. The first thing I would do is just come into your shipment history and look for that package specifically just to make sure, okay, was it picked up? Was it delivered? You can tell very quickly in ShippingEasy what the delivery status is. On the right-hand side of your shipment history page, you have a clock that's gray. Now, once that's scanned into the mail stream, that clock is going to turn green. And once it has been delivered by the United States Postal Service, there'll be a check mark. So that's very easy to tell the status of a package for the post office. You can also click on the tracking information. The tracking information displays for UPS and FedEx as well, but UPS and FedEx don't have the actual icon. Now, when you actually are trying to track this package down and figure out, well, the tracking says that it was delivered, but it was never actually delivered, you can file claims if you have insurance on the package, or if you're using like priority mail through the post office, or reach out to the carriers directly to say, hey, look, this was delivered, or this was not delivered. What happened to it essentially? Because yeah, unfortunately it gets to a point where I can't really advise as far as, or say definitively this is what happened, just because it's our software, but we're not the carrier. I would actually just reach out to your individual rep, whether it's with the post office, with UPS or FedEx. So your two options are basically file a claim with insurance or reach out to your account manager. Everybody has a US postal sales rep they can reach out to, or your local postmaster. And then UPS and FedEx as well. If you have negotiated rates with them, you can just reach out to your individual sales rep, and I'm sure they'd be more than happy to work with you. Great questions. I know we're running over today. This was a fiery webinar. We do these every Wednesday now. We're changing up the schedule just a little bit. We covered a bunch of stuff today that we usually don't cover. Well, it's not that we don't cover it, it's different every week. So feel free to reschedule again, because there's new questions asked every week. But I really appreciate your guys' time joining me today. If we can be of assistance moving forward, just give us a call on our direct support line. You can chat in, you can shoot us an email. We'll of course be happy to help you with any questions or any other problems that you might be experiencing. But thanks for joining me today. This one was a lot of fun. Take care.